When it comes to EVE Online, every player wants to know the most effective tactic available. You want to know the meta. The meta controls everything. It determines what will and will not happen. Knowing the meta will alter your views, make you question your reality. It might even make you laugh. And now, you're part of it. You're watching The Meta Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Meta Show. Today is Saturday, April the 30th. I cannot believe it is already the end of April. This year is flying by, even though nothing seems to be happening except for giant, massive hype trains happening, as always, in the chat to start the show. You guys are crazy. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
It's awesome when we see you guys get hyped up before we even start. And as usual, we got Crazy DC giving out some stuff. We got a whole bunch of subs, a whole bunch of hype, and we appreciate that because boy, we're gonna try to bring the hype this week. Brisk has gone through and created and sifted through all of the news and all of the options. Level 5 almost. Here we are. That has escalated quickly. I blinked, I looked at it when it was like level 2 and I was like, oh hey guys, thank you. And now all of a sudden here we are. Fanfest is next week. And we are going to be hearing the EVE keynote on next Friday. And as a result, a lot of us are just sort of inhaling, exhaling, waiting, wondering. Carneros, 5 gift subs. Thank you. And we are almost at the top of the. Okay, I think the hype train.
Almost there. We're going to hit it.
Guys,
there it is.
Wonderful.
We can start the show now. We officially have our level 5 hype train.
Level 5 hype train to start the show is usually the way. So, we hope CCP brings the hype. As you guys can see, I am wearing a red shirt today, and Brisk is wearing more normal Brisk clothes. It is no longer a double black show. We always hope for the best, expect the worst, and we're going to go through today with not only what's happening in EVE, where there's some fun to be made of fire, some fun to be made of test, but I believe that most of our focus is going to be on what we think CCP is going to do, and probably hurting a lot of Borfs about what we think they should be doing for it to be a success. How do you want to take us through this, Brisk? Where should we go with
this? I mean, the first thing I'm going to suggest is for all of you guys, it's 4 o'clock on the East Coast. It is 2000 EVE time. So around the world right now, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, even if it's not 5 o'clock where you are. So this is going to be more of a little bit more of a relaxed show. We're just going to speculate a little bit. In fact, I think we're going to start with some totally irresponsible FanFest speculation. And we're going to knock that out as our top story. So I've got some scotch here. I hope you guys get an adult beverage, and we will start the fun right now with our top story. So, as we noted, Friday, May the 6th, Saturday, May the 7th, is EVE Fanfest 2022 in Reykjavik, Iceland. EVE nerds from all across the world will be converging upon a small little area in Iceland where CCP makes the game to have the first FanFest since 2018. 2019 was the World Tour. 2020 was COVID. 2021 also COVID. We have not had a FanFest in 4 years. Now,
yikes.
The big question everybody has is, what are they going to announce at FanFest? Now, Mittens, you've been to FanFest before, right?
Many times, yes.
Tell us a little bit about what it feels like when it's there and what you all expect when you go into the rooms to hear all the different stuff that CCP is going to tell you.
So, first of all, let's acknowledge that EVE players, myself included, are all a little weird as far as gamers go, right? Like, one of the most exciting things, I remember one FanFest where we were clapping and cheering, where CCP premiered new missile animations, right? And just showed the missiles with their wonderful, we take this for granted today. But when they do new visual updates, or when they show new builds of spaceships, the art panel has always been a very exciting time, because whenever they remodel a classic ship. I remember when they first started doing that, like when they did the first redesign of the Mauler, and it was just like, so when we go there, the past FanFest where they've had deliverables of like, here's a new design, here's a new cool thing that we could actually show you a video of, that's been very impressive. There's also been some FanFests where some of the things that they've announced have been duds. So for example, when they did the industry rework many years ago, I believe it was a presentation with CCB Siegel, it was a perfectly fine presentation. It was just not something that really translates very visually well to like ooh and ah kind of thing. One of the things that has struck me, especially at the old venue, which is now going to be the venue this year, which is in a big sports arena kind of thing, I always kind of liked that venue better than Harpa because it was a more natural place for people to meet each other in the hallways. Harpa oftentimes always felt to me like a fancy dentist's office, which makes sense. It's an opera house, right? It's not as, hey, let's bump into each other in the same sort of way that a sports arena is designed. But I think what people are looking for headed into this is we would love to be able to fall in love with Eve and with CCP again, right? The player base is in a situation where we would all love to see some wins for the developer and for the community as a whole. So the main thing is, please, for the love of God, don't fuck it up. Right? So like if they can hit the basics of just the EVE Online keynote is going to be right at the start of this, right? And that's a thing that they changed many years ago. There would be the EVE Online keynote would be like the last of the keynotes, and now it's right out of the gates. So we're going to be able to. Exactly, it's the first thing. So we're going to at least have an idea of what we're dealing with on Friday at noon, which is crazy. So that's gonna be interesting. Yeah.
Now, so again, so to start off, Friday is the first day of FanFest, May 6th. The opening ceremony starts at 11 a.m. Eve time. Noon is the keynote. Now, that's probably the biggest thing on Friday. They're doing the CCP games, which is a funny, goofy little thing that they like to do. There's a couple of different, you can see round tables. There'll be live events. They're having the FanFest Global Finals that were supposed to happen 3 years ago, but never did because of COVID. So they're doing all that stuff on Friday. But Saturday, I want to draw your attention to Saturday, okay? This panel here. And let me get my little arrow out and make it clear here. Eve, a living universe. That will be CCP Rattati's presentation on Saturday. And I'm willing to bet you that at least from a nullsec perspective, the stuff that comes out of that presentation will probably be bigger or even more important or more meaningful to us than anything you're going to see in the keynote. That's just my gut. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, has the CSM been told everything that's going to happen at FanFest? No. Have we been given a little more information that we had last week? Yes. We had a meeting Thursday with Rattati. We did find out certain things that are going to be announced. We don't know everything. We don't know the keynote. We know stuff from his presentation, but we don't know anything other than that. So when we do totally irresponsible speculation, I don't have much more info than you guys, and I'm going to be speculating as much as you are about what's coming because I don't really know. The meeting we had on Thursday had some top level kind of 30,000 foot things. We haven't seen anything operational yet. I'm interested to see timing, and I'm interested to see what they're going to do. But I'll tell you, and I've said this before, and I will go into it as close as I can get without going over my NDA line. Some of the stuff we talked about on Thursday with them, I was pleasantly happy to hear. Like it was the kinds of things where it seems like, okay, yes, they're listening, they hear us, they understand things. They're going to try to do some stuff that we will potentially like. Now, I say that now and watch everybody hate it and boo and go crazy. But when I heard what they were talking about and the things that they were saying to us on Thursday, I did not feel the kind of angst or like hit in the feeling in my stomach when I have heard other things that they've told us, like, oh, by the way, we're raising prices $5, or, oh, by the way, we're doing this, we're doing that. So I didn't get that instant feeling of being nervous. So that's I think that I'm going to take that in a cautiously optimistic way. that maybe they figured this out and they're not going to give us some kind of crap on Friday or Saturday. But to that point, what do you think we could see on Friday and Saturday? So I put this together. We're going to do totally irresponsible FanFest speculation. Now, the number one thing, what do you think the number one thing, I mean, what do you expect from a FanFest keynote that they will announce? What do they almost always announce, Mittens? What do you think off the top of your head?
Well, usually there's a big expansion to the universe, right? Usually there's some sort of here is a cool big future thing, like the famous ones we've had in the past would be like build your own Stargates, or some sort of walking in stations, or basically at most FanFests there is a headline feature of some kind that is, the standard by which then the company will be judged as to whether they're able to deliver it or not. But I would expect at the very least something new. And I've said this before on a few other shows where, like in the past few weeks, where, with CCP has always had a few what I would call like emergency options, right? Like in case of emergency, when you done fucked it up, break glass and release Jovians, right? Like there's this whole area of space that has never actually been allowed. There's been assets for Jovian things in the game for a very long time. And I always kind of figured that in a situation where they really stepped in it, they always have like an, oh shit, break glass, release Jovians kind of thing, right? Hey, have a new player character race, or a new line of ships, or some sort of a big new content. Because the fact of the matter is, if you're trying to explain, like one of the things to keep in mind about FanFest, guys, is from both a CSM and from a games journalist perspective, FanFest is a major opportunity for CCP Games to fly a whole bunch of games journos to Reykjavik and then wine and dine them and give them some talking points to then write articles post FanFest about, right? And so normally the way you would do this is you would then have some big headlining features that would be exciting, and then CCP would hope to get like a wave of positive press of like, ooh, CCP announces what the hell ever. So I'm hoping there will be something like that, because, I certainly don't think that gathering the press to Reykjavik and say, hey guys, we added waste into the game and now the players hate us and we raised the subscription fees by $5 a month in the US is really going to fly. So they definitely need some kind of new content. I just have no idea.
And that's the thing. I agree 100%. I think they absolutely have to announce some new content, something that is going to get people excited about logging in again. And that's the big question. What kind of content could they announce that's going to get people excited about logging in again? And we've seen we saw 4 years ago, the last big content update, and that they announced this at FanFest, was the Triglavian invasion. All right, so that was a brand new thing that came out. You had Abyssal Dead Space that had been launched, which at the time I thought was a great idea, and today I've kind of soured on it. It's popular with players, but it's instance gameplay. It pulls people out of space, and the amount of PvP and stuff that we expected on the out gates when people were coming out has been very little. It's ganking, and that's about it. You're not getting a lot of fights. So you're taking people out of the sandbox and putting them in their own little private sandbox to play game and make money. And the fact is, the way that they have nerfed every other money-making opportunity throughout the game except wormholes means that Abyssal Dead Space is now like the preeminent premier way to make ISK. And that's not good when you're pulling people out of space. So I was concerned about that. And what I hope that we will see, whatever new content that they tell us about, and I would be absolutely flabbergasted, which probably means it's going to happen, but I would be absolutely flabbergasted if they did not announce some kind of new content. They're going to have to do that. Because if you think about it, FanFest, it's not just goons going to FanFest. It's not just meta show audience members going to FanFest. It's not just nullsec people going to FanFest. You're going to have people from all over the game, high sec, low sec, wormholes, nullsec, everywhere in between. You're going to have people who are big fans of the lore. You're going to have big people who are big fans of the company. There's got to be like 3 of those people left, right? I mean, so you're going to have all these different audiences that they have to try to appease, and they're going to want to make sure that whatever they announce content-wise has something for everybody. So I fully expect that we'll see some content. It's just hard to guess what it is. But things that I think would be great: missions, New missions would be great. Something faction warfare would be great. Anything along those lines that we've been asking for years, that would be great. What were you going to say, Mittens? I'm sorry.
So I'm just going to follow in after you, which is I'm going to try to do like the inverse of this. Is like, here's what I think would be good, and then here are the things that I think we should hope that they stay away from. In terms, like, no more like sparks. Like Spark, for those of you that may have forgotten, which is very easy to forget, was a VR sport that CCP announced was going to be a new VR sport. And they had this whole VR thing at one of the last major Fanfests. And, I really want to see the new content for EVE not be, hey guys, we're doing an FPS again, and this time we promise not to fuck it up. Hey guys, we've invented Spark or some other random sport or some other thing that you're supposed to be excited about that's not EVE.
I mean,
this is
EVE
no Doctor Who
Fanfest. We don't need other
please.
games.
Eve, tranquility. Like, put, the sandbox needs new sand. It doesn't need a removal of a bunch of sand and then, hey, a waste mechanic and a whole bunch of other things. I think that the biggest thing that, if I would say what I would be looking to judge CCP on here is what they are going to present something that is more than diddling existing numbers in a spreadsheet. Right. I want to see, as if I was a judge on a baking show or a cooking show or something like that, what I would like to see in the contestants is I would like to see that CCP is capable of being a real game developer, not just a company that is handling EVE in sort of a maintenance mode. I want to see that they can do more than tweak some ones and zeros. I want to see some videos and some examples of actual gameplay that is new. And according to CCP for a long time, they have all of these developers that are working hard and have been working hard on the new player experience. And so at least in theory, there's a whole bunch of developers that are out there in Reykjavik doing developer things and have been doing developer things for a long time now. And so if this is actually true, and it's not just an excuse from the Rattati administration covering up an inability to do more than diddle numbers on a spreadsheet, I will feel much more confident about EVE Online if they can demonstrate that they can code and develop new things for the video game EVE Online, as opposed to just tweaking the spreadsheets. That's what I'm hoping to see.
I agree. And so on to our second idea. I mean, this is the next thing I wanted to talk about, because I think it's been a while, but I'm pretty sure the last FanFest they announced the trig line of ships. So I would like to see new ships. Are we going to get new ships? We've not had any new ships added to the game since the Edencom ships came in. And to be bluntly honest, those were a disappointment. They have not really found a space in the meta. Horde is the only group that uses them in nullsec. People sometimes use them to run Abyssal sites, but generally speaking, if you see a Stormbringer or a Thunderchild or one of these other things out in space, it's a rarity. And they were not adopted the way the trig ships have been adopted, which I think probably were some of the most well-designed and best beloved ships of most players in the last decade. I mean, not since like the attack battle cruisers came out, or even the T3Cs, have people been as excited about the trig ships as they were about the trig ships. So the fact that we have examples of when we have seen some really good ships designs and really good ships coming out from FanFest, and then we've also had more than our share of blue balls from the company in the form of things like Angel Caps that were announced and were shown on screen at a FanFest and have never made it into the game. Yet, despite the fact that they captured the complete imagination of the entire EVE player base to the point that not a day goes by when someone doesn't ask me, when, Brisk, are we going to get Angel Capitals? When do I get my Crab Titan? They still have not added these into the game. So that's one of the things I'm a little nervous about. So even if they do announce the ships, I want to know, all right, when is this coming into the game? I don't want to see like art renderings of something, because we've seen art renderings of things in the past that have never turned into anything. And I don't want to be a situation where we talk about new ships, they tease us with new ships, and that's all it ever is. But as Mittens is so fond of saying, can we please get some fucking spaceships in the fucking spaceships game?
It's not that hard, guys. Like, this is one of the reasons why I am so frustrated with the Rattati administration so often is that there are proven things that you can do at a FanFest that's going to make people happy, right? Don't show them pants and high heel shoes. Show them spaceships blowing up other spaceships, right? Some people enjoy that, and that's fine. But the big, that in whole Incarna presentation was sort of a big whiff at one of those FanFests, and it's important. They need to prove that they can make the core EVE player base, which pays their bills, happy, and show that they still have some kind of spark of magic. Not the fucking VR game, but actual, show us a spaceship. Show us that you can build a fucking spaceship and put it in the spaceship game and have it not suck and not be made out of water like the capital ships have been. So, yeah.
All right. Next up, I think the next thing that I was thinking of potentially what could they talk about is probably a little controversial. It might get them in trouble, but I think it's something that we all kind of expect to see at FanFest, just because this seems to have been the path forward that they have been going on for a while, where anytime they announce some big new thing, it's monetized. So will there be new forms of monetization announced at FanFest? That's a good question. And I'll tell you this, and I said it last week and I'll say it again. After the price hike, I will be a little nervous to have them announce anything that requires money to be exchanged, because I feel like the players are going to be upset and say, look, you just raised the prices and now you're going to try to sponge us on something else. So even if we get something that we want, like structure skins or alliance skins or corporation skins or more clones or things that we have told CCP in the past that we would be willing to pay them for, I'm really nervous and hope that they don't go the route of announcing anything like that with a price tag attached to it at this FanFest, because it's just too soon, TM.
I think if they announced like, hey, we're going to add a multi-account discount, that would be an easy win. Like if they're going to talk about money at all, or they're going to talk about any of the controversies that they've engaged in, coming out with a stack of benefits that are new and real, with the Omegas, if you're going to pay $20 for an Omega subscription, what are we getting that we weren't getting before?
That's a key thing they got to talk about, I think.
Yeah. One of the things, and so I want to tell people about this. So I could be wrong, and it's probably a good thing if I am wrong on this, but Iceland is itself inherently kind of an echo chamber because of its geographic isolation to begin with. The company culture of CCP is even further an echo chamber, and especially when you end up, and there's proof of this in the fact that every time the Vertati administration trips and falls or does any sort of anything, they act shocked that the player base is irate, and then they say it's just goons and it's just Reddit, and they write it off. And one of the things that's always been interesting and important about FanFests, and why it was important for CCP to be attending Vegas and generally speaking keeping their ear to the ground, is you have to stay in touch with your line members or your customers, or you got to stay in touch with your core constituents. And I think that there is a really interesting possibility here of a lot of people who are at CCP who have been either had their head in the sand and don't realize that players are irate, or have been writing it off as just, oh, it's just meta show propaganda, or, oh, it's just Reddit propaganda. This is going to be a very interesting situation. Like FanFest really is kind of a Fokker walk moment, right? Because you cannot escape the fact that people are unhappy with your product if you have invited them to Reykjavik and you are in bars with them and you are asking them for player feedback and they're like, we've been telling you. So it's going to be really interesting to see if this happens, and it might not, again, I could be wrong, to see if any of them wake up and have the scales fall for their eyes and realize that, because here's the thing, guys. So far we're talking about what could be good, and this is do this, don't do this, things like that. It is a very interesting and very bad situation if they biff this thing, right? Because if they bring in a whole bunch of journalists and they don't deliver, or it's more excuses, and they have this aha moment of, oh crap, it's not just people on the internet that we should be ignoring or unhappy. I'm really curious to see how this goes. I hope that they succeed. It is not good for me. It's not good for Goonswarm. It's not good for the Imperium. It's not good for the entire galaxy if CCP keeps cocking things up. It is important that they succeed. I want them to succeed. We all want them to succeed. We all want them to make money. We all want them to expand EVE Online. So hopefully they have an opportunity to listen in person for the first time in 4 years to their player base. And I hope that you guys that are going do communicate openly and honestly with them and give them whatever feedback you do have.
Right. And I mean, so Goonie DuPont's like, do you think people are going to go there to yell at the devs? Well, here's the thing. No. I know people would see, you know, you would assume that if you're going to FanFest, that you're a big fan of EVE, you're a big fan of the company. And I don't think that necessarily is true, because I'll tell you, I'm not going there because I'm a big fan of the company. I work with them every day. There are people there that I like very much. There are people there that I don't like very much. There are people there that I have a lot of respect for. There are people there who I think are ruining the game. But I'm not going there because of the company. I'm going there because of all of you. I want to see you people. Okay, I want to see my friends. I want to see my fellow goons. I want to see folks that I don't normally see at EVE events in the United States. I want to go see some of the devs that I haven't seen in a long time. I haven't seen at least since Vegas, like 2 years ago. I haven't seen most of these guys in a while, and I want to go see them and say hi and rekindle some friendships that I've had over the years with people that I only get to see on a screen now. So I think there are a lot of reasons why people are going to FanFest. Not all of them are about going and being all excited about whatever is told to them in whatever of these speeches that they attend. But I do think that they have to be careful, because there are a couple of landmines that if they bring up, it's going to be a little difficult for them to get out of. And that's my next point. How are they going to message the price increase, and how are they going to talk about it? Will they even bring it up? I don't know. I don't even know.
They're not going to say a damn thing. I'm going to guess unless they actually have something to show Omegas, like, you know, oh, we've really got all these important things that are just around the corner, and we're gonna bolt all that stuff onto your Omega subscription, and it's going to be fine. Like it is. I give it a coin flip odds, guys, that the Rattati administration just tries to sail through this and act like the price increase didn't happen. And if they do address it, I mean, they'd better be bringing home some bacon. I hope they address it. I think that they should. I think they should have something to show for the last 2+ years of patience and forbearance while they're enacting their master plan that's just around the corner, that totally involves more than waste. But, you know, this is the risk. Correct. The risk is that they get up there and somebody just biffs it, and the audience is, you know, there's a non-zero possibility of like a "don't you guys have phones" kind of like a viral moment. If we could just get through this thing without a "don't you guys have phones" disaster, I'll be happy.
Agreed. And I'm hoping that should be this situation. I don't expect it's going to be that crazy. Now, I will point out something, just one thing. If you're going there and you want to talk to CCP, to various developers or whomever, and you are critical or you're upset or something like that, first of all, don't be a dick. You know, they're just people. Even Rattati, he's just a person. We're all just people. Okay. So even if you're critical, you don't like what they're doing, and you want to tell them, hey, I'm not a big fan of what you're doing, be respectful about it. Don't be a jerk. Don't go up to them drunk and slobbery. Don't punch anybody. Don't barf on anybody, please. That's been an issue in the past. You know, I mean, just go up there and be respectful and be courteous, and recognize that we're all people. And it's still a stressful time. And I'm sure it's stressful for them too. They know that we're mad. They know that people are not happy about the price increase. And yes, we're all aware that everything is more expensive now, but that doesn't mean anybody likes it. I don't like it when I go to the gas pump and I pay $100 for a tank of gas. I don't like it when I go to the store and bread's $1 more than it was 2 months ago. I don't like it when I go in, I see Netflix raising their prices. So they know people don't like it. They recognize that, but I think it'll be a lot easier on everybody if the way that we express to them that we're not happy with things is not something that's like crazy. So if you're going to FanFest, please don't be a dick. You don't need to be a dick to get your point across. And I think, frankly, I don't expect a lot of that, because I think in person, most EVE players are pretty cool people. I know that there have been exceptions to that. I know people have gotten in each other's faces, and that there have been some incidents that have caused great galactic conflicts over the years that have happened at FanFest and things like that. But I trust that if you're at least if you're in this audience, that you know how to behave in public, I hope. Just saying.
And all bathe. Right. Please, for the love of God, bathe.
Right. Yes, God. Please. There are showers in your hotel rooms. Use them. Okay. And bring more than one pair of pants. Okay. Anyway, now the last thing, this is kind of a funny joke that I'd like to throw out here. And this is just something that I'm hoping we're going to hear about or anything, because I'll tell you, this has become the new funny in-joke meme thing that everybody keeps asking for over and over again, to the point that I think we're going to get it at some point. Now, I don't have any inside information that we're going to get this, and frankly, I doubt we ever will. But I've also said that about a Losec Gate Disdain, and guess what? We got that. So what's the chances we get cat ears at FanFest? Right? I mean, wouldn't that be funny? Like, finally, like, I'll be honest, I can't think of anything else in the keynote that they could announce that would get almost near universal cheering out of the crowd, would be if they did cat ears, just because it's such a fucking meme.
And you anyway, know, police easy wins if CCP wanted to make money in a rational way as opposed to in a incompetent way. Is sell police skins for every ship, because everybody loves having police skins were some of the most popular types. And back in the day when we could put every skin on every ship for a brief, glorious moment. And
that was so nice, wasn't it?
It was wonderful. You could have a police cruiser skin for any ship in the game. If you had something like that and you sold cat ears, then maybe you wouldn't wonder why your players are complaining about, it was just, these are easy wins, guys, easy wins. Even if it's a joke, get over your whatever precious crap is going on in the heads of the people at CCP that are saying we can't have this kind of skin, we can't have that kind of skin. You're going to have to get over it. You're going to have to get over it. Because we would rather see a vibrant world full of, like, are you telling me that in the far future, in the grim darkness of the far future, where your magical capsuleers and stuff, people are not going to make their ships hot pink and wear cat ears and be as weird and rebellious as possible? Like, that's human nature. And you got to understand that. Actually, that would sort of explain a lot of their kind of corporate issues in general, of the lack of understanding of human nature. But it would be nice if you understood it. Give us cat ears and let people have hot pink spaceships, for fuck's sake. It's not that hard.
And it is not going to kill anybody's immersion. It's not going to mess with the lore. There's plenty of ways they can put it in there. I mean, the bottom line is, again, and I've said this once, I'll say it 1,000 times, I am an immortal capsuleer, rich beyond the dreams of avarice. I should be able to put cat ears on myself or my ship if I choose to. I wouldn't, because that's not my style, but I know a lot of you would, and I would like to shoot you. So I think that would be fun, to go out and blow up ships that happen to have cat ears on them. So anyway, that is our FanFest totally irresponsible speculation. Again, we'll see what happens Friday, Saturday. For those who were asking, I will be hosting CCP TV Saturday morning. So that's going to be a little tough for my friends in the U.S. time zone to watch, but all of my European friends, we will be starting at 9 a.m. on Sunday or Saturday, and I will be going through until sometime that afternoon, probably 1 o'clock, when I think Frosty's is taken over from me. And then I will be doing interviews with a number of newspapers that they've asked me to do. I got The Guardian and McPaper over here in the United States, USA Today, and I think PC Games N as well I'll be doing interviews with. So you're going to get to see me on Saturday. And as a programming note, next week for the Meta Show, obviously we will not be doing a regular Meta Show because I will be in Iceland at FanFest, and Mittens will probably be taking the day off. What we are going to do is bring you the next edition of WWE Meta Show style.
I'm so excited about this.
2022. So we're going to do that next week. You're going to get to see all of your favorite EVE famous celebrity people fighting each other in the ring for your pleasure and amusement. Merkel Chen, Asher, Matani, Villy, ProGod, a bunch of other people will all be featured next week. So Life Shifter will be doing that for us. So you guys will get to hang out and see that on Saturday. Now, we're kind of done with this part of the show. Do you want to do a brief, because it kind of feeds into this before we get into the Nullsec Power Hour? I want to do a brief piercing the corporate veil. There's a little bit of news.
Yeah, let's touch on this, because this sort of raises the stakes for FanFest a little bit. So we're going to corporate level.
We're going to pierce the corporate veil real quick and go into the no good, very bad week for Pearl Abyss that has been happening over in Korea. So You want to look at a kind of scary stock price. Let me pull this down. Here we go. Pearl Abyss, over the last week, has seen a significant drop in their stock price on the Korean NASDAQ, on the Kosdaq.
Oof.
They went from 97,000 Korean won a share down to 67,300 Korean won a share. That is the equivalent of $1.39 billion worth of market cap that they have lost in the last week. Now, you may be saying, well, Brisk, if you have been looking at your own stock portfolio, you would know it's in the shitter, and tech stocks around the world have been going down, and that is true. And I think Pearl Abyss is definitely part of this. But you also have to keep in mind, this is not something that is new. Over the entire rest of the year, their stock price is down $3.4 billion since the beginning of January. Now, Noisy Gamer put out a blog to talk about this on Thursday, and I think it was very interesting. I saw it, and I chat with him about it today. The biggest problem, as far as we can see, is the only major announcement game-wise that Pearl Abyss had for 2022 was the launch of their Black Desert mobile game in China. And that seemed to go great in the beginning. The first week, it zoomed to the #1 downloaded spot, but a couple of later in the day, it was down to 75, and it has kind of fizzled out. This was the only major announcement for Pearl Abyss in 2022. They have not been able to get any of their other games out. Crimson Desert, which is supposed to be the sequel to Black Desert, was supposed to be released this year. It has been pushed back and back and back, and they don't appear ready to launch this thing until sometime next year, if then. So the result has been Pearl Abyss has taken a big kick in the butt in terms of their stock price, and I think that is going to put at least a little bit of pressure on CCP as one of the steady performers inside the Pearl Abyss portfolio to help tide them over through this bad time until they can get to the next win, and maybe the stock prices go up, and maybe we aren't like headed towards some kind of global recession that it looks like, given the way the stock market has been going around the world for the last couple of weeks. Well, I'm a little nervous about this, boss. What about you?
This is fascinating. I mean, so first of all, a little refresher for people that haven't paid too much attention to the Pearl Abyss segments we've done on the Meta Show over the last couple of years. I want to start with where the acquisition was. I'm going to write this down so I don't lose my train of thought. Eye of Sauron on admin at Fanfest. And then we're going to work backwards so I don't lose my train of thought. So one of the first things to understand about the relationship as we understand it between Pearl Abyss and CCP is that when Pearl Abyss had their initial public offering, it was extremely successful, and they ended up with a lot of won. And one of the things that was a motive, we believe, whereby we, I mean me and the people I talk to about this sort of thing, one of the main business motives for Pearl Abyss to acquire CCP was none of the micromanaging, microtransaction, Hello Kitty, cat ear sort of stuff that initially speaking people seem to be very outraged and afraid of, right? The reason was if you end up with a very successful IPO and suddenly you have a couple $1 billion, you got to figure out where to put it. Right. And when you're dealing with lots of money, where you put that money is a challenge in and of itself. And so one of the things we have really not seen too much direct intervention from Pearl Abyss on CCP at the level that people were sort of suspecting it would be, right? It was here's 175 to 250, maybe a little bit more if you get your performance bonuses, a place to park Pearl Abyss's money in a stable asset that had been consistent in having a certain amount of players and a certain amount of engagement and a certain amount of revenue year over year over year over year. The fact that EVE was so stable prior to the Rattati administration's Tinder administrations has, the stability was one of the main reasons you could get the golden goose, own the golden goose, and go from there. However, Now, this does open up some other interesting questions. Is that now that some of their other projects have failed or appear to be in trouble, will that change? There was a change of corporate leadership at Pearl Abyss a little bit ago. It was the COO became the CEO, which is actually a pretty normal method of corporate transition, right? That's sort of the way it's supposed to be. And they kept it quiet, which is also perfectly reasonable. So it is entirely possible in a scenario where their stock price is crashing and they're looking around going, what can we do to get new revenue? Well, just in time for their stock market, their price to crash, CCP lost money. They didn't lose money, but their revenues went down in Q4 2021 for the first time in a while. That was a thing. It is entirely possible that there will be a lot more corporate eyes from CCP's owner on this FanFest and on their behavior going forward. I don't think it mattered as much if CCP, messed up things around the edges when Pearl Abyss was relatively stable and successful. So basically the stakes have been raised, guys, and we have to wonder, is the Eye of Sauron going to come from, in Korea, going to sort of turn and take stock of what has been happening to the EVE player base and what has been happening to the customer retention and the growth or lack thereof of the game. And so, yeah, this I believe that this is big because this is the first time that we have seen an indication that Pearl Abyss has run into a corporate transition, actual big line go down changes, and it's just in time for FanFest on Friday.
Right.
Whee!
And again, like we said, like Matani said in the beginning, FanFest, one of the reasons why FanFest is a big deal is because it gives CCP the opportunity to get a lot of earned media that it would otherwise have to pay for. Mm-hmm. And that's good. You like that. You want earned media. You want to get all the media guys writing about the game because it creates buzz. It creates some kind of like they're going into the next year is the 20th anniversary of the game. This is the 19th anniversary this year. They're going to be talking about all of that stuff. They're going to talk about EVE Forever. They're going to talk about the third decade and all the other types of stuff that they bring up all the time. And they're going to want to use this as a way to get free attention that they don't have to pay for on the game that hopefully they can turn into new subscribers, turn into new players. And we should be all for that. But it's going to be a lot tougher now when everybody's going to be looking at them and asking, so are you guys nervous about the stock prices with Pearl Abyss? Are you guys nervous about, what's going to happen with this increase? What are you worried about your Russian players and the stuff going on in Ukraine and the war and what the impact's going to be? All the questions they're going to get asked are going to be relatively negative, and they're going to want to try to spin it back on the new stuff they're announcing here. So I think at the end of the day, this is a big opportunity for CCP to get earned media, but they're going to have to earn it, because the media is not going to be wanting to talk about the stuff that CCP wants to talk about. They're going to want to be talking about all this other stuff. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Whew. All right. We are done with CCP talk. We are ready to take a little bit of time to have some fun. There were two State of the Alliances. One we have audio for, one we do not. We had a test State of the Alliance, which they claimed was their first State of the Alliance in years. I guess all those things that Villy and ProGod did weren't actually States of the Alliances or something. And we have we have notes from Fire Coalition's State of the Alliance, and I want to address that for one major reason, and that's because Konstantin, the severely brain damaged, cannot stop with the big lie that what we're doing down there has anything to do with the Ukraine war. So we're going to go into Nullsec Power. We're going to talk about Fire. We're going to talk about Test, and we're going to have lots of fun at their expense. All right. First up, we have Fire's mini SOTA that they did on April the 25th, the same day, oddly enough, as Test's State of the Alliance. This was in Russian. It is translated. Ignore the bad spelling in the translation and focus on what they're saying. Now, Konstantin starts off by saying, looking back at the last 6 months, I've come to the conclusion that it's pointless to waste time in EVE about morality and principles, which is what you say when you don't have any. Like, that's not how you start off a State of the Alliance, by saying, nobody in this game has any morals, so neither do we. Okay. That's not exactly true. As we have said before, at least on the Imperium side, we are your best friends. We are your worst enemies. And when we make deals, we stick to them. And I guess not everybody is like that. He's talking largely about, he brings up Try and talks about how they were fought, Imperium fought them in Cloud Ring. Our dear friends in Cloud Ring got pushed out. And now they're on our side. And now they're temp blue to us because we're all fighting the same people in the South. That's not a lack of morals or principles, Constantine. That's EVE Online. The guys you fight one week become your friends the next week because the enemy of my enemy becomes my friend. That is a standard EVE thing. It has happened over and over again. We used to be good with Test. There used to be Imperial Legacy. Now we have knocked them down to size and we laugh at them all the time. This is the nature of the game. It's not because people aren't loyal or because they don't have morals or principles. It's because that's what happens in the game. It's what happens in real life. That's just how war is.
You know, I know you're about to go to this, but I just got to get in here and shit on this guy. Okay, so Constantine continually is trying to nail himself up on a cross and say that we started this war in the East as something that is timed for the war in Ukraine. We have a SoundCloud from Taphos and whatever the fuck his name is, who used to be one of the Fire FCs before he burned out and ran away. We had a fucking town hall where they said, we have deployed with here, we got Horde, and we're going to be attacking. We have a recording of you telling Fire that you were going to be attacking in Esoteria. And now your little pubby bitch ass turns around and has the audacity to claim some sort of moral high ground when we have your fucking face in the dirt. And you're going around going, oh, well, the Imperium did this and we killed 1.3 trillion lists of Imperium assets. And the Imperium is so much bigger than us, which means that, of course, you lost way more on a per pilot basis. I skipped ahead a little bit. That's the bit in the War and Faith Atlas section.
Okay.
You read down.
Okay.
But moving back to the ranting and the screaming, this is hilarious. We have not published this SoundCloud because it's just a boring kind of thing. We'll probably do that after the show because I keep mentioning it. But essentially, you dumb motherfuckers said in a public area where the Black Hand could catch it. This is also funny, a little bit down there. We'll make fun of this. By the way, guys, the Imperium and Goonswarm is good at espionage. You might have been hearing about espionage and Goonswarm at some point in the last 10 or 15 fucking years, ever since that whole disbanding Bob thing, maybe a little bit before that. But surprise, surprise, we have the goods on you where you're admitting that you guys are attacking and that you deployed with Horde to attack in Esoteria. And so then we deployed, and now you're nailing yourself up on the cross like a little bitch, Constantine, because you are a little bitch. And these are the excuses you have to make. You want to try to act like you have any kind of moral fucking high ground, you dumbass, you fool. And you think that this is about the fucking war in Ukraine? Eat my ass, bitch.
That's the bottom line. This is the bottom line. I would like to remind our dear friend, Constantine, that this entire campaign started because Horde, their SIG, Test, their whole alliance, because they don't have SIGs anymore because they don't have enough people, and you guys and Fire started attacking Red Menace Coalition in Esoteria because they had the audacity to sign a non-invasion pact with the Stain Russians because of the fucking Ukraine war. They were trying to make sure that they were safe, and you guys took advantage of that, including a whole bunch of non-Russians on the part of your friends in Horde and Test to do this. How dare you? How dare you come in here and put this big lie out again? And that's what it is. This is the big lie. If you believe and you are telling your people that real-life war had anything to do with a content deployment that Goons didn't even join for like 2 weeks until after Init was already down here.
You guys deployed caps. We're like, oh, they deployed caps. We got to follow. We got to get in there to support.
You are the absolute worst kind of fucking liar that I have ever seen. And it's disgusts me that you keep bringing this out. And the more you keep saying this, the more we are going to push to clear out everything you possibly could ever have. Because now it's personal. This is not okay. This was a fun deployment to start, but it's not anymore because you can't stop lying. Period. And that could have come right out of the mouth of your boy Sweaty Shines. Okay. We're not going to stop now because you guys can't stop lying. Eat my ass.
It is amazing to me. So like the next bit I want to riff on here is, you know, a little bit further down, he's talking about how if you look at the results, here's my kill board. Okay, so first of all, goons are dumb and periodically we crash cap fleets into trees. This is nothing new. Everybody who has played EVE Online for any length of time realizes that. Yes, we collectively lost like 70 dreadnoughts, and that racked up the cost of the battle report, I guess. And here this guy is constantly going back to, oh, well, this kill board and that kill board and whatever. And it's just hilarious to me that he's like, okay, so in terms of ISK, the enemy lost 1.3 trill and we lost 1.2 trill. And while we're having more people, the Imperium is very big. So if we do a whole bunch of stuff, the Imperium has lost 3 times, whatever. The point is that you don't have as much people, and you have equal, so just amortize that on a per pilot basis, and what you get is, fuck you, you've lost Faith Ablist. Fuck you, you're gonna lose Amos, and fuck you, maybe we'll see you in some other place here soon. But it is just of the rationalizations here to go from like, well, they're way bigger than us, so the amount that they lost is actually way less on a per pilot basis.
Right, on a per capita basis, it's far not nearly as bad. They can't even get their numbers right. Well, the enemy lost 1.3 trillion. And then like 2 paragraphs later, the enemy lost 1.5 trillion. Is it going to be 1.7 next? Is it going to be 1.9? How many more trillions did we lose? When you're making numbers up and just pulling them out of your ass, which I don't know how he could have pulled them out of his ass because his head's still up there. I guess you can just make up any number that you want. It's perfectly fine. But the bottom line is, I mean, every type of coping mechanism that you can have when you're getting your ass beat, he puts into this thing. He talks about how, well, the region's lost, but this is actually a good thing. Okay, I guess. Yeah. And they're just going to go away and they're going to leave, and it wasn't a big deal, and we had the fort here, and it was just a content thing and not a big deal. Everything's going to be fine. We're going to go off. It's a floodplain. I mean, literally, they are calling it a fucking floodplain. After the amount of shit we took for calling Fountain and Quirius floodplains during the Vietnam War. Oh yeah,
if you could scroll down a little bit more, because you got the whole like, we've got 9 regions, and it's really hard that we have these 9 regions, guys.
We've got 9 regions. We have to, goons. I actively talk about how we plan to attack ESO. It's a lie. We just didn't have any content close to us. I mean, let me see if I can get that up on the screen because it's not up there now. I mean, it's just like, it is absolutely absurd. This is
what we're fighting, boys and girls. Like this is what we're dealing with here. I'm not too surprised by this. Like, yes, Constantine sucks, but this is a dude who has never really been directly in our crosshairs before. Neither has Fire, but they are pappies. They have always been happy to be pappies. And now that the consequences of being a fucking pappy are at hand, then lo and behold, all they have is excuses and move ops to retreat further and prepare for the next thing, and more lies and more excuses. And then, as we already told you in fleets, and goons already found out, I'm even amazed how quickly they learn.
That's the best part. I love that part. Goons already found out. I'm amazed how quickly they learn. I'm glad you fucking figured it out, dude.
Like, dude,
you can't fart without Wes knowing what it smells like instantly. Okay.
These guys spent a year and a half part of 103 alliances blue, jacking each other off about how great they are and how bad goons are, and insisting that they knew best. And it got proven otherwise repeatedly on the battlefield. And now that the shoe is on the other foot, none of this should be a surprise. You guys are supposed to, understand your enemy. Well, we always said that one of the reasons why the Pappies lost is that they never tried to understand their enemy. They had their like little Redditor pubby idea of what Goon Swarm and the Imperium is about. And then they went along with that. Oh, well, goons will leave. Everything is going to be fine. And these dumb motherfuckers never learned the first thing about their foe. And now when we turn up at their doorstep, it's like, oh, well, it's because you're evil, because you're attacking us, even though we told everybody we were attacking you. It's just lies, excuses, and I love it. I love it. Please just lie. Please keep doing this because it's working great, honey. We're having a grand old time here purging your regions, and don't change a thing.
Exactly. All right, so that's enough of this nonsense. So anyway, you got the gist of it. Essentially, you've got Constantine and his guys trying to desperately spin as much as they can why they're losing, why they keep doing stuff, and then throwing the big lie out over and over again, hoping that they can convince their players that this is an actual thing. I hope that none of them are that dumb. given the past performance of these guys, I'm guessing that that's probably a hope that is not going to be fulfilled. But at the end of the day, we're going to keep fighting because they're there and we want to smack them around, especially the way that they talk and act towards us. So as Mitten said, these guys have not been involved in a major conflict with us before. I don't think they understand us, and that's fine because we understand them.
Yeah.
And we're going to spend a lot of time doing that. Now, next up, we have this week. And I want to set the stage for this. We have the test State of the Alliance. But before we have the test State of the Alliance, I want to highlight one big change that happened this week. Sandrin Stone, who stepped into Villy's shoes as military director of test, took Disorderly Vagrants, his alliance, and he was just his corporation, he was just making jokes about this as all of the big alliances, all the big corps and tests were leaving to go to Horde. He made a joke about how Diva was leaving, but it was really just a one-person thing. But now all of a sudden, Diva has pulled out of test and gone to Severance of all places. So what does that mean? What that means is Sandrin was the last named, recognizable name FC in Test Alliance, please ignore, that is still playing the game. Pro God is still in Test. He hasn't played in months. As far as I can understand, he is checked out for good. Maybe he'll come back at some point, but he is no longer playing the game. Who does Test have on their FC team? Nobody. Exactly. So what's happening now is they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. They've got to train up new FCs. They've got to retrain. Apparently, they have to retrain their entire alliance. So they did their first State of the Alliance, apparently in years, according to Sapporo Jones, the executor of Test Alliance, and Balder, who is the head of Dreadit, the CEO of the biggest corporation that's left in Test. Now, as we always do on this show, I have some fun clips that I want to go through with you guys. And because it's a little bit after time, but because we're not going to have the show next week, we're going to go a little bit over for you all today to provide you a little bit of fun with Test. Now, the first thing I want to bring up. 2 weeks ago on the show, you may remember we talked about certain things that you will always hear from someone in Test whenever they have, or someone in PASB, whenever they have chosen to either pass or they get their ass beat in a major fight or even a minor fight. The thing you hear more than anything is good form up, guys. Great form up. Really good form up. This is so prevalent in their culture. I'm telling you this right now. If you ever hear a Pappy guy say, and yes, you are getting 33% more meta show. If you ever hear a Pappy guy say, good form up, that means they lost or they ran away. So how does Balder start the State of Alliance that he did last week? Well, here it is.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for doing a good form up for us to fight goons. That was... I was watching you guys on the Keepstar. That was really cool. Good job. Hope you got some cool kill mails. I saw Cammy lived forever.
And the best part is, do you guys want to know what the good form up was? Let me show you the good form up. This was the good form up. They formed up 78 guys in their staging system and fed it to 26 goons, 20 guys from Darkside, basically a roaming gang that came through there.
Wow.
And they fed 101 ships and lost 10 billion ISK to 4.5 lost and 19 ships on the goon side. They lost a golem. They lost a bunch of other stuff in here. But that was that's how they started.
Good form up, guys. Good form up.
Good form up, guys. Good form up. Great job feeding. That's how they started this SOTA. And I had to laugh because it's like literally they lost this to a random roam in their staging. Now, they bring out, so Balder starts and goes into this, and then they bring out Sapporo. And Sapporo says what I consider to be one of the biggest understatements of the year.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sporo Jones. I'm the exec of the Alliance. I just kind of wanted to have a moment to talk to you guys about kind of where we're at. I know it's been kind of a rough year. Outer Passage isn't the most glamorous space. I really wanted to have a moment to thank you guys for, staying with us. And
so many of you didn't. I mean, the bottom line is that last year has been kind of rough. Outer Passage, not the best space. But thank you guys for sticking around, because God knows half of you didn't.
Yeah, you
Wow.
just wonder, like, it's so rare that you even hear Sapporo Jones address the Alliance, right? Because during the entire war, he had Vili and ProGod basically telling him what to do. And I thought that Baldur was running test, but I guess Sapporo is still the Alliance. Who fucking knows? But this is I haven't heard this recording. You're getting this live. I've had like a busy week.
This is good.
And wow, let's keep going.
There we go. All right, so the next part, this part I think is funny, just because it's like duh. But here we go.
I also wanted to say that finding content in this game has been challenging for us this year.
I wonder why that is. Could it be because you moved to the ass end of nowhere to get as far away from goons as you physically possibly could? Maybe that's why there's no content. You're in the middle of space, surrounded by blues. I wonder why there's no content.
It's amazing. Like, they did this to themselves. We made it very clear what we were going to do and what we weren't going to do. And if they found some fucking balls, maybe they could have some content. But hiding in Outer Passage and going, oh, well, maybe we're going to do some things in Great Wildlands. Like, okay, we'll see how many corps stay with you. Let's with inspiring leadership like this.
There you go. So they announce the next thing that comes up. Baldur comes back on. He announces the biggest change in test this year. This is the biggest change that they're going to make in this whole State of the Alliance. It's their biggest announcement. You want to know what it is? You're going to laugh. Let's listen.
Now we get to kind of take test in the direction both of us feel is the direction it ought to be going. And so starting today, the first big change I want to announce to you guys is full Alliance capital relocation from TODT to NEU. We are moving out of the TODT Keepstar and into the NEU TAC Keepstar. So that's the biggest change I think that we are going to do right now.
The biggest change they're going to do right now is a move up between two Keepstars in their own space. Listen, this is literally what they are doing. I will haul out my handy dandy red fucking arrow. They are moving from TODT to NEU. That is the biggest change they're making. They're moving their capitals from one system to another. And you know what the best part is? As always with test, you can't have any kind of an announcement where you don't actually start doing the fucking move up on the goddamn stream.
Ross, actually, if you could, the fleet is up now, so please look in your fleet finder, and we will have ongoing bridge fleets from now until whenever we're ready to stop. But this isn't something that's going to take place over like a very limited time. This is a long and drawn out process from moving our capital.
A long and drawn out process to move your shit inside your own space. And you know what the best part of this is? And Mittens, you're going to love this, okay?
Oh, God.
Not only are they doing the move up during the State of the Alliance, they fuck it up during the State of the Alliance. Listen to this shit.
Working on getting Todd in place, and once it's in place, jumps will be provided every 10 minutes.
They didn't even have Sinos in place.
There's a Vedmak.
Oh, there's a Vedmak trying to kill one of the Sinos.
Local Baldur, just go.
And then just tell Baldur, just keep talking. Stop. We have to do this.
Yes.
So he's just like, and I will say this. If Fountain Frank wanted to do an, between Sapporo and Boulder. He could probably do another one that's even longer than the Vili one, because that was most of what this was. Listen, guys, not only this, halfway through the SOTA, and I didn't clip this because I was already going through too many clips, and this was pretty funny.
God.
Somebody sets up a gate camp between the two systems in Outer Passage and starts killing these guys while they're doing moves, to the point that they're like, stop going gate to gate, just take Titan bridges. I mean, it was literally the funniest thing that I have heard in a long time. And so what else is Test going to do? I wonder, what else could they possibly do? And we hear finally they're going to get a little bit of content. So what kind of content are they going to get? Well, they made a major announcement that they're going to be doing a jump clone deployment, in addition to the one they're already doing in Faith Abyssal to support XIX. But this one, as they said multiple times in the State of the Alliance, was, oh, this one's just for us. We're not going to support somebody else. This is just for us. Where are they going?
And Ross, actually, if you could
hold on.
Yeah, so one of the things that I'm most excited about is a jump clone deployment that we're going to do to Great Wildlands.
Great Wildlands. What's in Great Wildlands? Well, first of all, one, pull it up here, Great Wildlands. It's NPC nullsec. This is Thucker Space. TH. Who lives there? A bunch of low-sec pirate guys, and then you've got Valkyrie Alliance with 1,100 members in it, and you've got Ebola, who's there as well, with 152. I'm going to remind you, even as a shell of its former self, Test has 9,000 members in its alliance. And they're going to a region that has NPC nullsec space to pick on a bunch of smaller alliances, and then potentially go into low sec. They talk about that. We might go into low sec. I'm sorry, 8,300 members now. They are a shell of their former self, down almost half since the height of the war. But they're going to go into Great Wildlands on a content deployment because they need to train everyone. Apparently, they need to train their FCs. They need to train people in fleets to know how to shoot things. That's an actual quote. It was amazing to me that this is what they're going to try to do.
If you can't manage to do a fucking move op when you spent a year and a half participating in fucking move ops rather than actually making the hard strategic choices in the Vietnam War, which is one of the big reasons why your dumbasses lost, move to Outer Passage and can't even during a State of the Alliance, which you shouldn't be doing a move op during your speech. And if you're in charge of your alliance, why did you plan it that way? Hey guys, here's the state of our alliance. The biggest change that's going to happen is we're moving from point A to point B, but we're too fucking incompetent to even manage that. You've already watched half of Tests that actually knew what they were doing. They didn't really know what they were doing, but they were better than what's left. Fuck off to other more competent alliances. And right here, right now, we're going to prove to you that the core of Test has been so hollowed out because they are too cowardly to do anything other than hide in Outer Passage, rot away, and then try to punch downward in NPC nullsec when you can't even manage to move between one keepstar and another keepstar in Outer fucking Passage. Like, I mean, I knew it was bad, right? I knew it was bad. You got to watch me listen to those clips and react to those clips live. But like, there are so many fucking amateur hour leadership mistakes in just those few little bits there. They make Constantine the Sincere look like a truth-telling, competent person, right? It is, what a shit show. You would wonder why Diva would leave and go to fucking Fire and join Severance and get involved with Constantine's people and get rolled over by the Imperium. But compared to that, it actually makes sense. My God, what a mess.
All of these curbs that I'm circling have left Test since December 23rd of last year.
Wow.
Like, it's massive. And it's big groups. It's Vili's group. It's Havoc and Moose Army and Diva and all of these guys. It's like lots of big groups. Black Omega Security, huge group. I mean, and Tropa, I mean, it's just, and where did they go? Horde. One group went to Dracarys. Some went to FRT. Horde. That's it. And so finally, one of the other things they talk about going to Great Wildlands is, well, if we go to Great Wildlands, and then we keep going, we go to Scalding Pass, and then we get down to Impasse and Tenerifis and the other areas, and then we're meeting goons moving up, and that means
goons do decide to push forward into Scalding Pass, Innsmother, and all that. They're going to be under our guns too. So we're gonna have a coordinated defensive position that's going to help.
What guns? What guns are we going to be under of yours? You guys think a 78-person form-up in your stager to push off a kitchen sink gang is a good form-up. Great form-up, guys.
They are like cowering in the trenches as if we are imminently about to roll those regions. Right? I haven't used the word Scalding Pass in a sentence in, I don't know, probably a few months. It's not like something that comes up very often, but gosh, you know that the barricades will be manned by Test's incredibly competent move-up warriors against the encroaching goon menace in Scalding Pass and Innsmother. It's just, look, here's how it works, guys. You made a bunch of excuses, you hit on the other side of the galaxy, and you had an option. You could come out of the zone of rot and fight with the big boys again and try to be a real alliance that is actually worth their fighting weight, right? Which you're not, right? Look how much bloat and incompetence is left in Test. Or you could take the cowardly way of just sitting on your asses and rotting away into nothing. And you have now rotted away to the point that you can't even do a move up from one point in Outer Passage to another during a SOTA? Like, no planning, no leadership, no future, no hope, which is good and just because that's what you deserve. This is exactly what you deserve. If you are in Test right now and you decided to go on all those move ops during the Vietnam War and you drank the Gurgoon Kool-Aid and was like, yeah, Pro God Legend, Vili and Sapporo and this guy and that other guy, that's good leadership. And this is the society we want to be part of. This is what you get. I wish I could say I'm surprised. I'm kind of surprised, but not really. I still think that they could at least have managed a fucking move op and have known to not do it during the middle of a big alliance update. And to say that this is the biggest move we're going to make for the next while, guys, the biggest move we're going to make is we're going to go from one staging system to another.
We're changing our stager.
Cock it up.
Big move.
Oh my God.
So look at this. Like, the numbers of the top alliances in the game have shifted considerably since the end of the war. I mean, you see, Init has moved up to number 4. We were in like 7 or 8 before the war started, and then we got really far down there as the war went on. Brave, finally, after forever, did a purge of their inactive members. They still have 8,400, which is more than Test does. Test was the number 4 alliance in the game for a long time, and now has dropped literally by half in the last 6 months or so. And I know some of you, at least one of you out there, is like, guys, this is boring. This is Alex Jones. You're getting bored. But no, it's not. We're giving you exactly the words of the people. We are giving you exactly the words of these guys in their State of the Alliance. If Init had done a State of the Alliance where it was just a move up, and we decided we were going to do a some kind of a deployment to a nowhere region of the game, and Darkshine said every 10 seconds, people would be making fun of us. Okay. But at the end of the day, these are the guys, this is the group, the leader of the Pappy group that put together the war against us during the Vietnam War, and we are going to mock them incessantly for as long as we can because they deserve it.
This is what you get. This is what you get if you lose a war of extermination. You didn't have to start a war of extermination. You started a war of extermination. And I mean, I'm glad that we have at least one person who's upset in chat because it does make it more interesting. And I like that sort of thing. But it is, I've said this a bit in the last week because we've been waiting for these corporations to leave before we could talk mad shit about them. And it's one of those things where you can know a train wreck is happening. You can say, this date at this time, if they continue this, there's going to be a trend. We have evidence that the trend is accurate. The theory is supported by what we're seeing happen week over week over week. And you can predict a train wreck, but when the train wreck begins happening, even if you know it's going to happen, it's still just like, wow. So
okay, so for Kieran is like, no, seriously, when is it going to end? It'll end when it's not funny anymore. You say this is just a game. You'll say it's just a game, but you don't play like it. Yeah, this is the game. This is part of the game. This is part of the fun of the game. You know, making fun of the guys that make fun of you or come after you. That's, I mean, come on. That's
maybe he'll tell us not to say fuck. Some of these guys are scared. Well, he's probably not a profanity guy because he doesn't start that way. But look, this is, if you don't like it, if you don't like the meta show, if you don't like the Imperium, I suggest that you get together with about 150,000 of your closest friends and blew each other up, and then spend a year and a half talking about how we're all bad people, and wallow in your hypocrisy, and then fail utterly, and then you're left in a position where you're just desperately making excuses for one of the most laughable SOTAs that the game has seen, right? Like, we made fun of Constantine's thing before this, but that actually is more together and more organized, full of lies.
That was kind of more organized.
But that was more of an adult announcement than this one. So
even with the big lie in it. But look, I mean, the bottom line, and I know you're asking a bunch of existential questions, and I don't really want to highlight this, but to the point of, you know, when is going to happen? There's no corpse left. Listen, this is Eve. We fight other alliances. They fight us. We say bad stuff about them. They say bad stuff about us. The day doesn't go by when you don't see people on Reddit giving the goons a hard time, giving the Imperium a hard time. Oh, look how awful you are. You had people that did this. You had people that do that. They bring up the wizard hat for the umpteenth fucking time.
Oh, no.
And how horrible all we are. So, you know, this is part of the game. It's part of the game. It makes it fun when you can make fun of the guys on the other side and tease them and taunt them and laugh at them when they do stupid things. They do it to us. We laugh at ourselves just as often. You know, but at the end of the day, we're here to entertain, and this is what our audience likes. You may not, but the other 739 people watching right now do. That's why we do it.
All right. Well, let's stop playing with
moving on. There was one question, Mittens. All right, we're gonna wrap up the show now because we are about 20 minutes over, and we don't want to give you too much extra show because then you're going to start expecting it. And plus, I think I smell Five Guys in the other room, and I'm kind of hungry. So I would like to ask you one last question, and we're going to end the show because somebody had asked me this, and this is the type of question that I can't answer because it's a question for you, Mittens, and that is the person asked, could you recommend another psychology kind of book for him to read? He really liked the Dictator's Handbook that you suggested a long time ago, and he was interested if you have read any other books like that that you could recommend to anyone as we end the show this week.
Yeah, so there's I think it's a little tacky and outdated now. 48 Laws of Power is where a lot of people, you know, Robert
That's what I recommended to him. I said, you got to read that.
Yeah, Cialdini's Influence, 48 Laws of Power, Dictator's Handbook. There is like Joe Navarro's What Everybody is Saying, which is more of a body language thing. Let me take a look at some of my things on my bookshelf here. There's a whole bunch. I'm a fan of a book by Phil Rosenzweig called Left Brain Right Stuff, which is in theory less about psychology and more about organizational management. I've got a bunch on that topic. Maybe each week we'll do a little book rec, but off the top of my head, that's actually, I guess everybody gets to see the back of my scalp there. That's interesting.
There you go. Yeah, I'm glad you had a haircut.
I turn around and I get to watch the back of my head. But yeah, I mean, basically just get started in there and start learning things. Just watch what the humans actually do and realize that what they say is often not what they're doing, and they're not even aware of what they're saying. And that goes for me too, right? Everybody's a human. We all have the same cognitive flaws, but you really need to drill into the actual motivations for why people do the things that they do. When you see someone doing something that you think is stupid, you have to go, okay, well, I think it's dumb and wrong, but what do they think that actually makes this reasonable and accurate in their world? And what are their identifying their baseline assumptions? It's a whole process, but those are some books to get you started.
Very good. And I am very much amused by your Five Guys references in the chat, guys. You know it's hamburgers. Just saying. Anyway. All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, next week we will be off the air. We will not do a meta show next week because it is Fanfest. I will be doing Fanfest. I will be at Fanfest. Mittens will not be at Fanfest because he's going to be hanging out and going to Eve Berlin. Goons Berlin in July. It is going to be
July 9th and 10th.
So he will see you guys there for your European fix of the Mittens. I will be in Fanfest. We will do the WWE show next Saturday during the meta show, regular time. Then we will be back the week after, regular time, 4 p.m. Eastern Freedom Time, 2000 Eve, for our post-Fanfest show. And then a week after that, we will be doing our first CSM show of the year because we will be right in the middle of CSM campaign season.
the silly season.
We're going to have lots of silly fun, I assume, during the CSM season. We got a lot of empty seats this time around. It's going to be interesting to see who runs. It's going to be interesting to see who we put up. As Mittens noted last week, the top of the Goon ballot will be Kazanir, Angry Mustache, myself. We will see who else is on that ticket in a couple weeks, and we'll get to see who also is running from the rest of the game. So anyway, from all of us here at the Meta Show, any final words before we get out of here, Mittens?
I think that's it. It has been a real one. We've had a fun show, and I'm looking forward to wrestling and Fanfest next weekend, and then being back at it with all the CSM stuff. So interesting times, lots of eyeballs on the game, and we hope that CCP manages to do well. I want them to succeed at Fanfest. I want it to be good. I want there to be no big viral oopses. Let's just make this a success, guys, and give us something to be happy about, and we can all go back to being happy and singing praises. So
exactly. All right, everybody. Thank you all for joining us. This has been the Meta Show for April 30th, 2022. I am Brisker Ball, joined alongside the Matani. Thank you all for joining us. We will see you next time. You stay classy. New Eden.
Thank you, guys.